Hi everyone, Jackie here with Enjoying Life's Journey. Welcome back to another weekly Budget With Me video. We're going to be budgeting out the second paycheck of April 2022. We like to budget out every single week just because we get paid every single week, so I encourage you to do the same. It's not so much as budgeting as it is cash flow planning and tracking our spending and kind of getting a handle on our money instead of our money having a handle on us. We do use a zero-based budgeting method, and I'm going to be budgeting out today using my Excel template. I have created this and it has evolved over the years, and it is for sale on Etsy. If you're interested, the link is down below. Real quick before we jump on the Excel sheet, I do want to thank those of you who left a comment last week, and as always, if you share a comment on today's video, we'll be sharing it on next week's video. We have words of encouragement, questions, or even how your budget differs from our budget. So real fast before we jump on, Annie for Horses, she says, it's fascinating to see other folks' budget spreadsheets. How long have you had your current setup? I've had mine since 2017 and it's gone through 14 updates. Super handy to have an electronic copy that can be changed as finances evolve. Yes, Annie, thanks so much for sharing that. So when I very first started doing the zero-based method, I actually followed on a paper, it was Dave Ramsey's paper budget. And at the time I was just doing the monthly budget. I wasn't doing the paycheck budgets. Then I moved on to Excel. They just happened to have like a very basic budgeting template, so I started using that. So this was probably back in 2013, 2014, and then towards 2014, 2015, I watched a tutorial on YouTube on how to create this budget, and again, it was just the monthly budget. So over the years, I've added the paycheck budgets, I've added the percent tracking, I've added my account tracking, and then I added the yearly budget, and then more recently this year I added the ability for the yearly budget to auto-populate onto the monthly budget. So yeah, pretty much every single year since 2014 this template has evolved. And yeah, like you said, having that ability to change things. So we have an irregular income because my husband, he works in construction, so sometimes there's overtime, sometimes there's a lot of overtime, sometimes there's no overtime. Myself, I'm self-employed, so I have a separate budget for self-employment, but some of that money does come to the personal budget. So we definitely are always changing on a week-to-week basis. So it is nice to have the ability to just kind of change it, and having some of those formulas in place that auto calculate things for me. So that's definitely nice to have. So let's jump on the Excel sheet, because for those of you who may not have seen it, you might be wondering what I'm talking about. So like I mentioned, this is my Excel template. I do have the yearly tab. So when you're using this template, the first thing you're going to do is do your monthly budget for every individual month. And the reason I encourage you to do the whole year is because you might have expenses in one month that you don't have in another month. For instance, when do your car registration come due? Do you pay your car insurance for the whole year or 6 months at a time? So you kind of have to see how that plays out. Maybe there's birthdays, holidays that you want to plan out. And same thing with your income. What months do you have an extra paycheck, and how are you going to allocate that money? So by doing it at a year, you kind of get a better idea of what's coming up. You have a little bit better of a plan. And then these auto-populate onto your monthly tab. So this is where we're at for April. So the first thing I like to do is I go on my husband's pay stub and I see how much did he actually get paid and what came out for taxes and deductions and things like that, and I update the current week based on that, and I update other things. So if you see here the cash back for our Discover card, I put this in black because this was already this went through on the 6th, so this stays as a credit on our Discover card, and then I can use that towards paying. I usually use it towards paying off part of the gas expense on the credit card. So it was $45.49, so more than the 20 that we expected, so that was nice. Myself, I put this orange because I'm filming this on Friday morning, and my payment from Amazon Flex is going to come through a little bit later in the afternoon, but I will be bringing over $35.16 from the self-employment part, and so it's orange because it's still happening right now. And then my husband's pay stub, He had his regular 40 hours at $30 an hour, and he did have the 10 hours of overtime at $45 an hour. So I make this black because this is the actual amount, and I am actually filming this on Friday as opposed to Thursday, so this money's already in the bank account. One change I did make for next week is Ricky is actually, they're going to be working tomorrow, Saturday, they're going to do 8 hours. So he's actually going to have $810 worth of overtime next week. So that's a pleasant surprise. So as we come down the budget, so the first part of your budget here is your income. And I calculate this before taxes because I really want to know where is every penny going. If you don't know what you're making before taxes, then just take a look at your pay stub and then you can see what's coming out for taxes, what's coming out for any other deductions you might have with your employer. I also like to keep track of every little thing that comes into our hands, whether that's birthday money or reimbursements from our health account or interest we earn on the bank, things like that. We keep track of everything that comes in so we can tell it where to go instead of wondering where did it go. So now the zero-based budget method is we got to tell everything where to go. So my first category here is paying ourselves first. Normally paying yourself first actually means paying yourself before the government. So how do you legally do that? Well, you invest in a tax-deferred retirement account, which is usually a 401k or a 403b if you work with a government city type program, or if you don't have those items with your employer, you can be investing in a traditional IRA, which is an individual retirement account, or if you're self-employed, you can have a SEP IRA, which is a self-employment IRA. So those are ways that you would pay yourself first before the government. You would pay into that account and then whatever was left would be taxed. However, for those of you who've been following, we're working on building up that emergency fund. So 520, I put blue because we already had that transferred into savings right away. So we're currently working on building 3,600. So we wanted to finish that out by the end of the month. So we'll have 2,600 added into there. Let's take a look at some of the comments. We're going to see if there's any comments related to the savings or investing. So Andy for Horses again, she says, always contribute towards the emergency fund, no matter how small. You never know when you may need it. So she gives a little story here about her dad getting locked out of his truck and having that added $200 expense. One thing that I've noticed since doing a cash flow plan, if you will, we've been able to cash flow some of these types of emergencies like you're talking about that are a little bit smaller. So we've had, if you have a flat tire or a dead battery, those used to be emergencies for us because we had nothing in savings. But now a lot of times if those things come up, we don't even pull that out of our emergency fund, we cash flow it. So we actually adjust our budget. So maybe, we pay a little less on debt, or we pay a little less on saving or something like that, and then we're able to just cash flow that expense as opposed to taking out of the emergency fund. So that's one thing that I found by doing this budgeting method has really saved us. And we had a similar situation too where Ricky locked the key in the car and we didn't have to get a new key or whatever. I think you said your dad lost his key, but we didn't have to get a new key, but we did have to have a locksmith come and get us into the car. So yeah, but definitely having the emergency fund for things, but also if you can figure out your cash flow plan and you can live below your means, a lot of times you can readjust your budget to cover some of these smaller emergencies, right? Leslie, Colors of Avon, she says, thanks for sharing the idea of auto transferring your payments. So I mentioned last week for the month of April, I was just having my bank automatically transfer that $520 from the checking account. So basically my husband's check comes into that checking account and then my bank is automatically putting that $520 into our savings account. And I just set it up for the month of April. So that's been working out really good. And we're going to come back to the Teardrop comments. And then Making Me Better says, so good to see your progress. Well done. Thank you guys so much. We're going to come back to some more comments a little bit later. So yeah, we were able to add the $520 to the emergency fund. Our goal for April is no matter what, we finish that fund out. And then we need to finish our project fund. And then we also have Ricky's tags due for the truck soon. and then we also want to be paying extra on the Teardrop. So we got a few things going on, but this is our #1 goal no matter what. Last week I updated, I think I had $50 budgeted, we spent $41.85, so I updated that from last week. I'm not going to put anything in this week, but we might have some other stuff coming up. I don't know, we'll add it as we need to. My husband's taxes on his pay stub were the same as last week, so the $53 for federal, $21.45 for Arizona state, $23.93 for Medicare, and $102.3 for Social Security. Like I mentioned, if we were able to invest in the tax deferred retirement account, the 401k, these taxes would actually be lower, but we're not able to do that. Ricky's with a new employer. We can't do that until around October. But we also see here for next week, the taxes are going to be higher because my husband's going to have more overtime. So this is another reason we like to budget out every paycheck, because again, we have that irregular income, meaning every week is not the same for us. We don't have the cost of health insurance right now. We have filled out all of the paperwork for my husband's new employer, and we actually got our health insurance cards in the mail. Nothing has come out of the paychecks yet, so we'll see when that starts taking effect. The next thing here, out of this particular paycheck, we're going to be able to put $155.92. We put that aside for the mortgage payment that will be due on the 1st of May. So I make this orange because I know that this is in that bank account. It's in that checking account that just came through, but this is going to be moved to a savings account until the week before it's due, just because we still earn like 0.5% on our savings account at our bank. So every little bit that we can earn, I'll take it. So I'm going to make this orange because we've officially started this budget category for the totals. If you notice here on the side of my budget template, like I mentioned, I've added tracking my accounts. So as of right now, that $155 is in that income checking account, and at our bank we're able to nickname our accounts. So I actually nicknamed that account income. This second account I nicknamed necessities. So this is the checking account where all of the bills that have the automatic withdrawal, they come out of that account. So like I mentioned, a week before the mortgage is due or a week before another bill is due, I make sure that money is out of the savings account and it's in the necessities account so it can be automatically withdrawn. Obviously this is an extra step. You don't need to do that. It's just something that I like to do. Like I said, I'm just trying to earn a little bit of extra money, but I've done that already on the side here. I've lined it up with that line item. All right, so we were talking about we are going to start some stockpiles. So let's take a look at some more comments real quick. So Lisa says, high five, you're doing great. Would love to see a stockpile video as it grows. So Wednesday, I just posted a pantry tour and kind of just our stockpile haul, kind of like our first official stockpile haul. So you can take a look at that video if you've missed it, and then we'll share again probably that first Wednesday of May. We'll see how much we were able to do within the month. And then journeying through life, she says you can do the dollar store, CVS, Walgreens coupon savings for personal care items and pay pennies on the dollar for these, especially the dollar store on Saturdays. I used to be a big couponer. I used to deliver newspapers, so I would get, you know, handfuls of coupons on like Sundays or whatever. So I used to coupon. I used to get like, basically you would have a coupon for like $1 off on toothpaste, and then you'd wait for that toothpaste to go on sale for $1, and then you basically get the toothpaste for free. So I had free toothpaste, I had free deodorant, I had free shampoo, free laundry detergent, or very cheap laundry detergent. But over the years, I found that some of these products I no longer use. So I prefer the Ultra Bright toothpaste, and most of those coupons were for like Colgate or something. So I kind of just stopped couponing those. And then the deodorant, after I gave birth to my youngest daughter, the deodorant was no longer working for me. So I now, because my hormones changed and also, so now I actually have to use the clinical strength deodorant. But now I only have to put on deodorant like every other day, so it lasts me longer. So yes, couponing is good if you're going to use those products anyways. If you're not using the products, then they're not necessarily that great, but that's a great tip. And what is so special about Saturdays at the dollar store? Is it like a special sale day? I know our Dollar Tree no longer is $1, it's $1.25. But yeah, let me know in the comments what that what that means. And then Raising Rayburn, she says yes to high fives, because we love high-fiving, right? She says, I'm looking forward to the next garden update. Here in Colorado, we can't start planting until May. Oh, that's unfortunate. Here in Arizona, we can start planting. We already started planting, and the garden update video actually was posted on Monday. So if you missed it, you guys can go check it out. Just click on my channel, and you can see all the videos I posted this week. So with the stock up, I spent about $32 on food stock up, I spent $6 on personal care stock up, and I spent $11 on household stock ups. But if you notice, the amounts are different. So obviously, you know, we had a combination of our regular food budget with the stock up. We did have to get more allergy medicine. It's in full effect. I feel like the allergies for me are like every other year, and this year Ricky and I are both struggling. And then household, you notice I spent $48. If you watch my stockpile, you're gonna notice I did get a few more organizing things. So I'm gradually adding organizing things to the pantry. But this is the money I actually spent at the store this week. So I wanted to make sure I can pay that off. We charge certain things onto the credit card, and then every Friday I pay off the balance. So this way we earn cash back. So I can see here I've already lined that up into my checking account. So JD asks, what category is clothing included in? This is a really great question. I don't know if I've ever addressed this on the channel before. So I used to include it as personal care, because that's what personal care is. If you notice, there's not a whole lot going on right there. We do not buy clothes very often. I usually go, my daughters, when the season changes. So we're coming up to, you know, summer's coming. So now we'll be going through the clothes and assessing like what they might need. And then again, when winter's coming, we assess what they might need. I'd probably make a whole separate video on this topic. But now, instead of putting it in the personal care, if you notice, I have each family member on the budget. So I have Arcadia and Elsa, these are my children. They are in my necessities category, because it is my responsibility to take care of my children, right, until they're able to take care of themselves. So we still have in our savings, in our sinking savings account, you'll see here, they each still have $100, and this is from the stimulus checks that we had gotten a few years ago. So that money went into their savings. So that money has been paying for haircuts, clothes, their soccer gear, that type of stuff. Once that money is gone, then it just goes back into, we'll cash flow it as needed. For my husband and I, we do not get clothes on a regular basis, but it would be lined up with our name. So Jackie or Ricky, it would be lined up here. If you notice this week, Ricky did spend a little extra money because he did actually get 2 new work shirts. His old employer would give them company work shirts, and they would reimburse him for, I think, 4 pairs of jeans, basically $100 worth of jeans, and they would have a work boots that they could purchase. So now with the new company, I think we're basically going to be paying for that on our own. So this will just be cash flowed as he feels he needs to buy items. This also included his NOS, and I think he ordered a tool on Amazon or something like that. But yeah, so that was a great question. We basically, within the budget, we line up any clothing with our name. And then for haircuts, sometimes it's with our name and sometimes it's on the personal care item. It just kind of fluctuates. But yeah, great question. This week we're going to be able to add the $415.18 for the other truck payment. If you notice from last week, we have some blue colors. This means this is bill money for the bills that are due on May 1st, and it's in the savings account, again, waiting until it is due. So we'll be able to finish out that truck payment. Now, if you notice here for gas, I made a change. I budgeted $100 last week because I really wasn't sure yet, because Ricky started his new job around the middle of last month. So last month we were still averaging about $117 for gas, but we only spent $78.31 for gas. So here, high five for that one. I'm going to leave it at 100 though for this week. We're going to leave it at 100. If you notice here though, on my income, we're only going to use $54.51 from the paycheck because we have the cash back. So I make a note on the side here saying I have cash back of $45.29. So the $45.49. So the $45.49 combined with the 54 will be the $100, so that's for gas. Yeah, and then I put on here we have one pending. So Ricky just filled up today. On the credit card it shows $1 as a pending, and then once it processes it will show me the full amount, and then I can update that on the side here. So when we're done with the budget, this 415 and this 155 will be moved into savings. I'll log on the bank account and I will manually move that over. The 3516 from my, so this is where we're going to be, the money I'm bringing over from my self-employment is what's going to pay extra on the Teardrop. So this is still red because that money's not quite in the bank yet, but that will be sitting in savings again until the end of the month. We should be able to pay an extra $423 off on the Teardrop. So Amanda says, okay, so Amanda, she mentioned on last week's video that they went on their trip, and I said, I hope you had a good time. So she said, we did have a good time, and it was for a wedding. That's always a nice event to go to, right? Congratulations to whoever got married. And she said, so awesome you got to add that much to the Teardrop. So if you notice, from last week, we're adding a little bit more because this week on Amazon Flex, I made a little bit more. And then also Leslie from Colors of Avon said, conquer that Teardrop. Or she's like, I love to spend the extra money too, but she said, conquer that Teardrop, go, go, go. Yeah, we want to get rid of this. We want this paid off by the end of this year. And then Jillian says, high five on reducing the period of time you're paying for the Teardrop trailer. So yes, thank you. So I think those were all the comments. Thank you guys. So basically, the goal is to have the Teardrop paid off no matter what by the end of this year. When we finance the Teardrop, it's like a 10-year loan, because when you do an RV or a boat or a trailer, those type of things, it's like a 10-year loan. We originally were going to try to save up the money and pay cash. This is when I was working full-time, but we didn't end up doing that. I ended up taking the money I made at the job for that 6 weeks and we put it as a down payment on the Teardrop, and we got the Teardrop. But so far, by the extra money we've already paid and the extra money we are going to pay this month, we've already shaved off, I think, 5 or 6 months of the loan, which on a 10-year loan doesn't seem like that much, but it's going to start adding up. So we'll be still, by the end of this year, that thing's going to be paid off. So we'll only be paying maybe extra $300 worth of interest total. So I'm fine with that. That's okay. The other two things, like I mentioned, Ricky spent the $74.49 this week, so we're going to make sure we pay that off on the card. And then we're going to have my laser payment. This is due on the 5th of May. We'll have that put aside, and that's $48.89, and this goes until I think September, and then I'm done with my payments and I'm done with my treatments. Normally, if you were to sign up for the monthly thing with the laser thing that I'm doing, it's like a 3-area package. I think it was normally like 80 something a month, but there was a special, so I got a discount, and then I paid a good chunk at the beginning. So it was basically, it came out to like $48.89 for every month. So if you see on the bottom, we have zeros, so we've told everything where to go. I know how much is in the bank accounts. So now I just need to transfer what's coming over to necessities so I can pay the credit card off, and then what's going to our sinking fund savings for next month's bill. So that's what I'll end up doing, is transferring that money over. I've already made the adjustments to next week based on the overtime. So I'm kind of just rolling some things over based on those bills. But we are going to be able to pay for Ricky's tags. Ricky's tags are not due until July, but because April is an extra paycheck month, we want to use that extra paycheck to go ahead and get those tags earlier. And then we're going to start, adding more to the project, the home project fund. I think I still need roughly $1,000 or so that will have to come out of next month. But yeah, thank you guys again so much for commenting. If you leave a comment this week, we'll be sure to share it next week. And if you would like to pick up my template, then it is for sale on Etsy, and the link is down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.